Okay, so I'm about to reveal something that I've never said publicly before. I've also never said it to my parents. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Engagement Party. So good to be back with you.
And we've been seeing you in the comments. We've been seeing your reviews. Keep them coming. They mean a lot. And also know that we want to hear from you directly. You can email us at engagementparty@cnn.com, all lowercase. And yeah, we're going to be checking the inbox.
Today, we're going to be talking about two of the most famous women in the world, Taylor Swift and Serena Williams. Also, if in your feed you have seen people tapping their face and their chest, we'll explain what that's all about. If you haven't, we will still explain what that's all about. And of course, we're starting with Serena Williams because she's back.
She is back. As we are recording this, she is playing in Wimbledon, where she is a wild card. This is a huge deal because she's been retired for a couple of years. It was a big splash when she retired, but it's also coming on the heels of her announcement that she was on a GLP-1. And just so we're clear, like peptides, all this stuff, none of it is banned from sports.
Right, and we're going to get into that. But let's
Yeah.
start by just looking at Serena and Oprah, who has also talked about being on GLP-1s, discussing their decision to go on these medications.
Yes, the
Okay?
wild card origin story is
Right,
what
right,
I'm calling
right,
it.
right.
Like my joints are so much lighter and so much better. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I just wish I had done this while I was still playing. Like it would have made such a big difference for me in my career.
You could come back.
I could, but yeah, so it's just.
I like just a little dismissal. It's like she's
it's
running.
affected
Yeah.
me, like I feel physically so much better. I feel more alert. And it's just to be able to do things that I could never do. Like even when I was playing, I could never do that at my highest because I realized it was extra weight that my joints were carrying. And like I can go to the clubs now.
Okay.
And to Wimbledon.
Yeah, exactly. And we should say later on in the clip, she actually like drops it like Get Hot just to show like how the knees are
She has
able
said,
to
like,
do stuff.
At that point, she lost 34 pounds.
There's a reason why I wanted to play that particular clip. Not just because Oprah's like, hey, you should come back, and she sort of demurs.
Yeah.
It's actually because she says this very specific thing about her joints and what she would be able to do even at her height, right? And I think this is the thing that is going to become a point of conversation. We might be wrong about this, but will GLP-1s become a point of debate in sports where it's either weight reliant,
Right.
you're boxing, that kind of thing, what weight class are you in, but also weight sensitive. Your figure skaters, your tennis player, the world of people where like the weight means something, but it's not the whole thing.
Totally. And so to the question of like, should these be allowed? I was really curious, what is the protocol? What is the policy for deciding whether a substance is allowed or not? And I think it's really interesting. So
Yeah, say
according
more.
to the World Anti-Doping, WADA, World Anti-Doping Alliance Association, the organization that decides these things, for something to be banned, it has to meet 2 out of these 3 requirements.
I saw that.
One is potential to enhance sport performance. Okay. 2 is potential risk to athletes' health. Makes sense. 3, and this is the kicker, potential to violate the spirit of sport.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
No,
It
no.
means WADA has decided it wants to ban the substance.
Well, the vagueness of that has been
Completely
a frustration
subjective.
for so many people. I think one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because we're always talking about internet culture and why does something become a subject of conversation? Because she has always been at the center of a proxy conversation, which
Totally.
is Black women. I want to go back all the way back to Sojourner Truth and Ain't I a Woman? Just the idea that like, you're not feminine enough. You are not feminine enough. You are too big. You are too bold. You are too this. You are too that. And she was this kind of, for a time, representative of being like, no, this is the body I'm in, and that's not inherently a bad thing. And I think the whole question, which also touched Lizzo, about do the women who were put on in a way stood on their pedestal to say this body is a good body.
I mean,
People are now maybe frustrated or disappointed when they're like, actually, this body I have now with the pills is a better body.
Can we just talk about the way Serena Williams has like movingly, elegantly addressed that discourse around her body? There was a Reddit post that was a letter to her mother about her daughter. I think it is just so elegant. Letter to my mom.
And this should go without saying that her husband was once a founder of Reddit. So they are big Redditors.
We should
let's
also,
just
while
say.
we're talking about her
Yeah.
husband, we should say her husband is an investor in Ro, the telehealth company that Serena is a spokesperson for. And she
And
has
an
been,
all-women's track and field
And she's-
sporting event.
she has been recording ads saying,
Yeah.
I lost the weight with the GLP-1 thanks to Ro. So like, there's money involved here.
As always.
But to this Reddit post, it begins, Dear Mom, you are one of the strongest women I know. I was looking at my daughter, OMG, yes, I have a daughter, and she has my arms and legs, my exact same strong, muscular, powerful, sensational arms and body. She goes on to say, I've been called man because I appeared outwardly strong. It's exactly what you're discussing.
Oh yeah, she was called that by I think the head of like a Russian tennis federation. I mean, this is like the people within tennis spoke this way about her, even at the highest levels. I mean, I what I don't want to do is police the body of a person who already has to deal with this in so many directions. And I actually don't know the line between performance enhancing and also longevity. Athletes are also at the forefront of all of this kind of like biohacking that is about muscle aging, and rest and recovery. It's like they've always been at the forefront of that, for better or worse.
Can we just all agree that wherever that line is drawn is relatively arbitrary? Like, you take this supplement, it's okay. You take that supplement, it's not. Somebody has to decide where that line is. Can we move beyond athletics to the broader body positivity conversation that you mentioned?
No, why? Where do you see the connection?
I see this massive societal shift from the 2010s when we had like Meghan Trainor's all about that bass and the celebration of big bodies on the cover of fashion magazines and on runways and in music videos and in Dove ads that was, remember those ads? It was like all kinds of women of all kinds of shapes and sizes and ages advertising Dove products. And now you have people who are kind of at the forefront of the body positivity movement saying, I'm reassessing some of my earlier comments.
Yeah. I'm glad you're bringing this up, this body positivity conversation, because something I did see online that really fascinated me was Jonathan Van Ness.
Queer Eye.
From Queer Eye, which is a show all about giving people makeovers.
Yeah.
It's actually all about
Looking
body
your
image
best.
and
Right.
positivity in the body you are in. Fans know them in that context, positivity around the body you are in. And they've been really public about health issues they've been going through for the last couple of years, and did this post recently about people noticing their weight loss. I want to play it for you.
There's this gigantic conversation around like, oh, well, you're a big body positive person. So like, you're not a body positive person anymore. What do you mean? I'm all about body neutrality. The way that you look does not define your worth.
Body
Doesn't define your lovableness.
neutrality,
You
very
are worth love and worth
specific.
celebration no matter what your body looks like. And I think that's what's so important, is that we are all worthy of love. We're all worthy of celebrating. And also, I feel like a fucking minx right now. So I might not ever look like.
Okay, JVN.
Feels good. Feels good. We're not going to begrudge some person feeling good, but body neutral,
Different from body positivity.
especially in the way it requires fans and the public to adjust. Body positivity was a thing that was a value to be celebrated. Body neutrality feels a little bit more like it's none of your business.
Counterpoint, Jamila Jamil, broke through celebrity in The Good Place and has been very vocal about body positivity.
And how women are viewed in the culture.
And how women are viewed in the
Yeah.
culture, reflecting on how now every woman in Hollywood seems to have the same, what she calls famine aesthetic.
No, I didn't. Oh, are we going there?
We are
Okay,
going
go
there.
ahead.
No one's saying, oh, they look disgusting. Oh, this is so foul to look at. It's unsexy. That would be body shaming. What we are commenting on it for is because it's so widespread, it's so extreme, it's happened so fast. And the question is, who is pushing this aesthetic? Why are so many women falling in line? Why are so many feminists who understand the damage of pushing this aesthetic, participating in it, and wearing clothing that accentuates how skeletal they are becoming.
Skeletal.
Why is this conversation?
You don't have to
Skeletal?
translate.
Skeletal?
She's English. You don't need to do that. Listen, I'm nervous about this, Ari. Like this conversation, maybe we even do it on another show, but this conversation about are we being gaslit about the effect of GLP-1s on celebrities and the changes in body type that we're seeing and whether or not we actually think that is the picture of health feels very different from someone like Serena Williams, whose whole thing is I'm training all the time.
Right.
like her whole thing is health. And I think her body does reflect that. And like, here we are in the territory I don't want to be, like, you know, judging the body. But I feel like that is different from the conversation of like, are these actresses too skinny? And
Right.
is it honest of us not to say that?
I mean, one light bulb moment that I had learning about Serena Williams' journey is that sometimes, even if you are the greatest athlete in the world and your entire job is to train and work out and exercise and eat whatever you're supposed to eat to be the best, there is, I mean, to put it bluntly, weight you can't lose. And it's not, we all know it's not a matter of willpower. It's not a matter of effort. But if Serena Williams couldn't lose the last of the baby weight,
but
how the hell is anyone else supposed to?
But that's why the ad was so effective.
Totally.
That's why the
Absolutely.
ad, and nobody quibbles with that.
Yeah.
What the question marks are going to be is, well, is this going to be a data point in the conversation about whether peptides and GLP-1s actually affect performance? Are they performance enhancing?
And I
we
also
don't
wonder,
know the answer to that yet.
Do we set a societal expectation that if you are above a certain weight, then you should be taking a medication to bring that weight down, whether or not you're comfortable, you're healthy, your doctor says you're good? Are we now so inundated with images of the famine aesthetic, as Jamila Jamil puts it, that we lose the, I don't know, imagination to be able to accommodate the range of bodies, women and men, that we have always, not always, certainly not always, that we have just very recently been celebrating.
Okay, since this one is all question marks, I think, no, I'm serious. I think we should move on. It's one of those things.
But the next one is all question marks too.
Well, it's interesting what these people
Different
have
kinds
in
of question
common
marks.
is it's a genre of one. And the first genre was Serena.
The second genre is Taylor. Once again, we are recording this days away from what is rumored to be the wedding weekend of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Rumored to be at Madison Square Garden over 4th of July weekend. Will it be? Maybe we'll know by the time
Although conditions may have changed. Yeah,
but it's like
sure.
summer wedding celebrity season. Obviously, Taylor and Travis are the biggest, but there was like Dua Lipa's big celebrity wedding. There was the recently confirmed, we don't know when it happened, wedding of Tom Holland and Zendaya. And of course, all the normies also like to get married in the summer, so we thought it would be a good time to talk about that.
Say normies. Why did you say normies? First of all, I feel like we're good people to talk about this because we got married when we were basically
in our 20s.
babies.
Yeah. Except
so.
I got married 3 times to the same person. We can get into that later if you
come
want.
Back
That's like
to
the
it.
history of gay marriage
All right,
in America.
so I did not think I was into this because if there's one thing that does not to be discussed further, it's Taylor Swift's nuptials. Like, covered.
Enough.
Covered.
Enough.
But then when I went down the rabbit hole, I realized like how into celebrity weddings I am.
I
and
realized
I'm
that
part
when
of
we
the
were talking
problem.
about this, you were rattling. I was like, how do you know this?
How do I know it? It's
Why do you
knowledge.
know this?
I don't want
you
this
clearly have
knowledge.
interest in this that goes beyond I have to learn about
It's
it to
not
talk
that,
about it on
it's
our
just-
show.
I realize first of all, I'm not a kid who grew up wanting to be married.
Okay.
And so I can remember.
When you say not wanting to be married, do you mean not wanting to have the big fairy tale
Yes, I should
white
take that
veil
back.
wedding? You wanted to be
Well,
married, you didn't want the wedding.
a couple of things. One, I grew up in the 90s, and so Waiting to Exhale told me black women would never be married. So
Sure.
I had to undo that programming of a decade. It was like, okay, it's possible.
Right.
But then the other thing was actual marriage. Like the
Yeah.
event of the thing was not a thing.
The wedding.
Yes, I did not play with any dolls that did a
Right.
thing. It just wasn't in my, I don't know why. I just didn't care about
Yeah.
it. But then
It's your origin story.
my villain origin story about caring about weddings. It is let me see what year it was. 2002. This is pretty late in my life. Gwen Stefani and Gavin Rossdale got married in London. Okay.
Why was that the one that did it for you?
before John Galliano was canceled and then uncanceled, he designed this gorgeous pink ombre dress for her. And I just remember being like, oh my God, this is so cool. It's like a rock star
That's
and
so
like a lady rock star. And
Oh, so was it like it was more rock and roll than Fairy Tale Princess?
it was both.
Okay.
And I remember being like, we can't have it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Gwen Stefani.
Gwen
I would not have
Stefani's
guessed.
first wedding dress, not her most recent. Sorry, it was fine. But this other one's in a museum, so I think I'm justified in loving it. Anyway, so I went down the rabbit hole of my own brain and realized there's like a taxonomy of weddings, right? So there is the like SponCon wedding. So that's the
Oh, yeah.
sort of
Like the
Kourtney
Kardashian wedding where you make millions of
Dolce
dollars off of-
Gabbana
yeah,
Archive does
yeah.
it, everything. It's like one long commercial.
Yeah.
There's the decoy wedding, which we might be seeing now, which is like, again, Kardashians.
For the cameras, that is
No,
different
it's like
from
we
the...
start the wedding in France and then fly everyone to Italy to throw off the paparazzi, right?
Maybe Dua Lipa did that. There was sort of like
Maybe.
different photos of different events that not leaked out, were released at different times.
Well, we don't know. Leaked,
Right,
Was
yeah,
released.
we don't know.
It's like this game of whack-a-mole with the paparazzi.
Which, by the way, just to return to Taylor for a moment, and then I want to hear the rest
no,
of your
please
taxonomy,
do.
Madison
You're
Square
taking
Garden.
your life into your own hands when you do.
Madison Square Garden is the perfect place because it has no windows. The cars can pull into a private place, and so they have 100% absolute control over all the footage. Paparazzi cannot get in, and if they want to, say, for example, sell a documentary to Netflix for $100 million, they have the power to do that.
Look at how much you know about that.
Oh, yeah.
Do you see? No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
but do you see the
Oh, yeah.
power of the internet?
Okay, wait, but more of the taxonomy.
No,
So
no, no,
there's
but
the
like,
SponCon,
this
there's
is
the
part of
decoy.
it.
Yeah.
You know so much about it. And it's this game between the people who are like, I'm going to keep this private no matter what.
Yeah.
You will never know about it. And the people
Zendaya and
who,
Tom Holland.
Yeah, who we found out essentially through like her stylist, right?
Law Roach, yeah.
And then the people who are like, I succumb. Now, if there's any monetization,
yeah, make a buck.
that will be done, I will make it myself. And I think the thing you and I have to figure out here is the us part of it. Why are we so into it?
Well, I think, this is my own personal theory, that the, it's hardly like
You've
an
had 3
esoteric
weddings.
theory.
It's okay for you to have a theory.
I think the celebrity wedding affirms the fairy tale princess gender stereotype narrative, and therefore...
Fairy tale prince. That's what you thought at 3 weddings?
Absolutely. Yeah, well, no, not me. I'm talking about the celebrity wedding for now.
Sounds like you're talking about the straights.
I think, and actually, there's a kind of weird contradiction in the Taylor Swift story here.
Tell me.
Because her Instagram post announcing the engagement said, your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married, which is the opposite of, this is a royal wedding. This is the closest thing the United States has to a royal wedding.
Yeah.
I think it is not a coincidence that the celebrity wedding this year that we have heard the least about is Zendaya and Tom Holland, who also happen to be the celebrities who are most comfortable with gender fuckery. Which is to say, like, Zendaya's most famous role, as we have discussed, Euphoria, is a queer tomboy. Tom Holland, any opportunity to play a clip of his 2017 lip sync battle
This is
performance
just an excuse
of,
to play him doing
I
Umbrella
mean, I
on the
don't
karaoke
need an excuse.
show.
Okay, I mean, he is in full stripper drag.
This is not stripper
You can tell
drag.
he
This
was a
is
dancer
Rihanna
before he was an
costuming.
actor.
It is an
he
homage.
played Billy Elliot on the West End. Anyway, and meanwhile, in the background, you've got Zendaya in her like
Yes.
boy drag, wearing a baseball
And for those
hat,
who
and
can't see it, this is obviously, these are clips from Lip Sync Battle, the
Watch
TV
it in
show
its entirety.
where
It's amazing.
celebrities
2017.
perform songs in costume,
Iconic.
referencing very popular songs.
But my point is that perhaps it's not surprising that the celebrities who are most comfortable exploding gender roles are also the celebrities who are like, you know what, we don't need to give you the footage of our wedding walking down the aisle in a white dress with a long train.
I'll sure if you want to. It feels academic. I mean, no, like lots
Shocking.
of people. No,
I
it's just
said
that,
something
like,
that feels academic.
Beyonce had a private wedding. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
think that it's a privacy thing versus not privacy thing. And there are some artists who very much feel like the more the audience knows about their private lives, the more it affects the work.
Yeah.
And I think for these two, it's been a real navigation because they meet and fall in love on the movie set of films that are
Spider-Man.
a series
Yeah.
that they have to continually promote forever,
Right.
Hunger Games style.
Right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so now they're on the red carpet together as a married couple without quite like talking about their marriage, but not talking about their.
Oh my God, the only
Yeah.
confirmation we got of their marriage was in an Esquire cover story with Tom Holland, where the interviewer was asking about the AI images that were viewed tens of millions of times that were fake of them allegedly getting
wait,
married.
I think we have
And
one
the
of those.
interviewer said, did you have to tell your family that those weren't real? And Tom Holland said, no, because they were all there.
And
That's
that was
literally
it.
the only confirmation we have that
was
they're
it.
married.
That was it. And then they started playing with that
Yeah,
idea.
so
They're
Zendaya
masters.
was on Kimmel.
They're masters at this.
Well, I was like just out and about in real life, and people were like, "Oh my God, your wedding photos are gorgeous," and I was like, "Babe, they're AI. They're
That's
not
so
real."
crazy.
I heard some really brilliant celebrity wedding advice from possibly the longest married, most famous couple in Hollywood, Kira Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon. They got married in 1988. Back in November, I interviewed them in New Albany, Ohio for an event. And in the interview, I said to them, I know you get asked all the time, what's the secret to your marriage? I'm not going to ask that, but what advice do you have for others getting married? And Kevin Bacon said, if you're more concerned about the wedding than the marriage, if you're putting more effort and planning into the wedding day than the years that will follow the wedding day, you're doing it wrong.
I want to add one other thing. I understand we've talked a lot about the stars themselves. For us, why are we obsessed? The whole stars, they're just like us. The wedding is the distillation of that. Because no matter who they are, no matter how like out there they are, whatever, you know, whether you're Dua Lipa or Meghan Markle, there's certain trappings that you still want, to perform.
I don't know. I hear about Dua Lipa having 100,000 hand-embroidered crystals on her wedding, and I'm like, no, those celebrities are not just like us, not remotely.
Let me try again.
Okay.
No matter who you are in your life, the idea of walking down the aisle in a white dress persists.
The Bachelor, the Disney
It persists.
princess.
No
myth.
matter how much people have worked on an image of like punk or cool or this or that, what do they end up doing? White lace, the whole shebang. Okay, so that's one thing. Number two, no matter what you do on your wedding day, things go sideways.
Yes.
And it happens to them too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then lastly, the family. The family.
Right.
There is nothing you can do.
That's my favorite part of any celebrity
You can be
wedding.
rich, you can be famous, but guess what?
Love
if your
that.
mom
The weird
dances
uncle.
a little too
Yeah.
suggestively, it ends up in the
Absolutely.
tabs. What I like is, you know what it is? I'm saying relatable. What I mean is it's leveling.
Yeah.
There is something that is very leveling
I
about
totally agree
a
with
wedding.
that.
And no matter who you are and how powerful you are going to engage or enter into some of this fraught territory because it's stuff you can't control.
Okay, so I want to know, after your punk rock wedding awakening in 2002, did you do the whole girly girl white veil and train thing? Did you lean into the punk rock of it all? Like, take us there.
No, I got married when I was so young. I was in my early 20s and, you know, sorry, Dad, I'm going to say this, but my dad was kind of like, weddings are not for the bride and groom. They're for the family. And
Not terrible advice.
well, but what it means is like who sits where,
Yeah.
how many people you have, what do you do? And so I think at the time I embraced the performance of it, and it was the odds. It was a different time, okay? I wore a Vera Wang dress. It was a lot. It was now you're into the wedding.
I mean, I'm into you in a Vera Wang dress.
We
sure.
had a jazz band. Like we did the whole thing.
Well, it's funny because, like, for me, like, growing up, you know, I came out when I was 16. Gay people didn't get married. It was not an option.
When
Like,
was this? This was 90s?
Yeah, I came out in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So, like, people might have a commitment ceremony, but even
Right.
then...
and we were junior reporters when Massachusetts passed
Right.
same-sex
And so
marriage. Yes,
then
yes.
my then boyfriend, now husband, was like, oh, suddenly we could get married. And Massachusetts was not a state that we connected to. But then in San Francisco, Gavin Newsom, who was then the mayor, decided he was just going to like start doing same-sex weddings. Mike, my husband, grew up in San Francisco. So he was like, we're doing this. Long story
Yeah.
short, in Mike's and my experience, we like 1 week's notice, went out to San Francisco, got married with our parents there, San Francisco City Hall. It was this whole national event. There were like bouquets being sent from all over the world addressed to the happy couple at City Hall. It was hundreds of people lining up getting married. The person who performed our ceremony had been with his partner since before Stonewall. So now husband since before Stonewall. Really incredible. But we couldn't invite family and friends. So then the following year, we did a religious ceremony that was more like a typical wedding, but that wasn't legal. And so
The irony is, at the end of all this, a lot of same-sex celebrity weddings look a lot like other celebrity weddings.
Totally.
White dresses or white tuxes.
Wait,
like
so-
the way amount of flowers. It actually, everyone has sort of admitted, like the body positivity thing, that at the end of the day, they
Yeah.
want this thing that feels very honestly kind of road and normie.
Yeah.
Even though they might have been in a world that felt like politically it wasn't aligned with them.
Okay, so I'm about to reveal something that I've never said publicly before. I've also never said it to my parents. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad.
Oh my gosh.
Just a couple years ago. So Mike and I got married twice. The first one was annulled. The second one was not legal. People who have read my book will know that I've said Mike and I have been married twice, and we're still actually technically not legally married, which was true at the time of publication of the book. But about a year ago, we took one friend who's a photographer, we snuck off to City Hall, and we were like, I think we should probably make this actually legal. So to those who've been listening carefully and heard me refer to 3 marriages, the third was the, until this moment, unannounced
Oh my gosh. So
little
you've
trip
had
to City Hall.
2 decoy weddings.
Yeah, 2 decoy weddings, and
One.
sorry for not inviting you, family and friends. It was literally just me and Mike going to City
The
Hall on our
enormity of this
anniversary.
is hitting me right now because I met your mother. Wait a second. Are you serious?
Yeah, I also didn't tell Mike that I was going to disclose this, so I should probably have a conversation with him this afternoon.
Okay, just in case we pursue this line of conversation, did you want to do the whole wedding ceremony again? Did it
No,
just
to
feel
me, having a
superfluous?
wedding was never meaningful.
Yeah, because a wedding is different from a
It's
marriage.
right. The first time Mike and I got married was the same week we closed on our first house. And I remember us saying to each other, I said, getting married or not, whatever, we're going to be together. It doesn't make a big difference to me. It's easy to get divorced if we want to get divorced. Buying a house together, that's a huge, huge thing that changes our life. And Mike thought the exact opposite.
Yeah,
he
I
was
think
like,
the
buying a
opposite
house,
as well.
whatever. But getting married is big.
That's why
that
Mike and
was
I get along
2003.
so well,
Yeah.
because we think very similarly. I actually didn't, look at us revealing things. I didn't live with my husband before we got married.
I didn't know that.
Oh my God. So I
Wait,
wrote,
really?
I wrote into Salon.
Salon.com.
Dear Carrie, Carrie Tennis was the advice columnist. And I was like, Dear Carrie, I'm a young girl in Boston dating a guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can we get the web page
yeah, I
from
think I have
the
a-
Wayback
I
Machine and
saved
put
a
that up on the
PDF.
screen?
And I'm like, we talk about everything from Condoleezza Rice to the rapid vibrator. It was extremely
God.
early odds.
Was it should I marry him?
It was like,
Or move in with him
you know
before
what?
I
Their
get
headline
married?
was, Should I Live with a Lover?
Wow.
And
that is
the
extremely
thrust of
early
it
odds.
was me saying I have very traditional immigrant parents
Mm-hmm.
who are not gonna. This is not going to appeal to them. Me
Yeah.
living with someone before I get married, and he gave me really great advice. Anyway, the point is, I think the idea of what order should things go in?
Yeah.
What does it mean to enter into adulthood? On what timeline? And which performance rituals signify those things?
Yeah.
It actually is weirdly fraught, and there's something common about that to both us, to celebrities, to whoever. But I think that a wedding at the end of the day, not the marriage, a wedding, is supposed to be a kind of performance that's also about hope. And is a strike against cynicism and unifying family. It has all of these things that are quite weighty and values driven
Yeah.
that are actually pretty hard to maintain right now. And maybe every time we look to a celebrity wedding, we're trying to vicariously experience those things.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, shall we invite someone else to the party?
Yeah.
The engagement party?
Let's. How did we not make a single joke about that?
Oh, that's really a good point. Well, you might remember last week during our Touch Grass, I talked about visiting my friend Henry in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yes.
When I was visiting him, Henry was like, I've been seeing something all over my social media feed. And I said, that is a scroll and tell. Submit.
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 Submit. And he
Okay.
submitted. So here's Henry.
Hi, I'm Henry, and I'm from Grand Rapids,
Are you wearing the
Michigan.
same shirt?
And
Like
I'm
the same-
someone that has been
It's like a
learning
vibe.
But it
about
does look a little
Yeah.
similar.
energy work and tapping, things like that, for a long time. And it's always something that people would raise their eyebrows at or just not know what I was talking about. And I feel that in the last 6 months, this world has suddenly exploded, and now everyone is talking about nervous system regulation and fascial release and acupressure points. And I think it's a wonderful thing that everyone is now focusing on calming down their bodies and feeling more peace within. I'm just wondering, why now? Is it because there are English scientific words to describe these ancient medicinal techniques? Or is it because there are now hot influencers selling products on TikTok
Correct.
for these techniques?
Yes, the answer is yes.
Why now? What's going on?
The first part I didn't know about.
Tapping. Have you never heard of
Yeah.
Have you seen The Devil Wears Prada 2?
Oh, right.
There is a blink and you'll miss it moment where Emily Blunt is doing tapping. And let me tell you, the tapping community took note. Here's a guy who posts on YouTube who's got basically like a tapping
I didn't
channel.
know people had thoughts.
I posted about it the other day, and I was very excited when I saw that. But I've seen some comments from some folks who were disappointed. They said it should be longer, and she's tapping wrong. And I'm just going to present my argument against this. One, I don't think it should have been any longer because it wasn't about tapping.
It's not a movie about
You
tapping.
don't want to make the movie about tapping.
Correct.
It would distract from the story. It was just long enough to show it and normalize it.
Okay. And also,
Wait,
normalize.
show and normalize.
Show and
Correct.
normalize. Also, your favorite television show, Love Island.
Has tap.
There is a tapping moment in Love Island.
Oh my God. No
This
spoilers.
person on TikTok says, never in a million years would I have imagined seeing someone do EFT tapping and affirmations on national TV.
Of course.
So I am not a tapping expert, but I feel like we're in this whole world of alternative therapies, which
Yes.
range from the more scientifically proven to the more esoteric and questionable. And tapping is somewhere in the range of like acupuncture, acupressure. There are credible people who know what they're talking about who will say this involves pressure points.
Yes.
This involves
As a person with many abandoned jade rollers and gua shas in my bathroom,
Exactly.
I am well acquainted with the attempt to calm my nervous system or make myself look younger, neither of which I've accomplished. But you're right about it crossing like
The
into the
timeline.
mainstream and
Yeah.
crossing the timelines, because things that were sort of beauty things have moved into the Maha science
The Maha part of it
alternative
is so
things.
interesting.
Like there's a world of people who, you're right, they aren't just talking about their alternative therapies, like they're getting to see themselves. And also tapping's such it's an easy one to pick up.
Well, right.
Meaning,
like,
I'm not
I can't
saying-
do acupuncture at
Right,
home.
exactly.
But I can do this.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying like if you want to give it a try, you're probably a few TikToks away from doing that.
Completely. I think more broadly, in pop culture and science, we are understanding the brain-body connection on deeper levels.
Yes.
And we are understanding that there are aspects of the brain-body connection that we may never entirely, fully parse.
Yes.
But it is no longer weird to say, doing this to your body will do this to your emotions.
Or we'll do this to your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
I think this idea of stress has taken on, it is fully medicalized. Something that once people were like, stress could be bad. Now there's a whole world of medicine that is trying to talk about stress, nervous system reaction to things.
The book, The Body Keeps the Score, has been on
Around
the bestseller
forever.
list for how many
Forever.
years now?
Yeah.
And I feel like with every year that it's on the bestseller list, a book that, by the way, I have not read, more and more people adopt this idea that, oh, what's going on in my body is not unrelated to
what
what's-
has happened in my mind, or in the case of that book, the past.
Right. And at some point, there is, to quote another book, a tipping point where a thing that was esoteric and marginal just has enough knowledge and awareness and people on TikTok trying to make money off of it that
Once
it suddenly is
something
everywhere.
goes mainstream, though, it does, especially in what I'll call lovingly the woo-woo space.
Mm-hmm.
Like once things from alternative land cross into the mainstream, I do think they kind of become the subject for potential mockery. Meaning I don't
course.
think The Devil Wears Prada was doing it as character development in a good way.
Right.
I think it was, you know what I mean? It's supposed to signal.
Counter argument, there's no
it's a
such thing as bad publicity.
Fine, but it's a shorthand for a kind of person.
That's right.
And that kind of person may or may not be being taken
Mockable.
seriously,
Right,
depending on the area. I was actually glad you found the clip of that guy sort of representing the community and being like, don't get all fired up about this, it's good, and saying normalized.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's such an important concept that marginal, like, and by marginal, I mean just smaller communities and
Yeah.
niche communities online understand way better.
Yeah.
That, like, if you're into something that's considered fringe, like, don't flip out if it's not done right. Like,
Right.
just embrace
because
it.
just the
and
representation
use it as an
is a
opportunity to
jumping
talk
off point.
about it.
Yeah.
So congrats if you're tapping. Like Love Island
You know,
has put you on the map.
Let me say, having spent time with Henry, I see him do it and occasionally give it a try. I enjoy it. I mean, it's not something that I do on my own, but I think it feels nice.
What would it even do for you? You're always going at 50 miles an hour.
Okay, so Henry is the musical director for the solo show that I do and for the show that I do with Alan Cumming, these cabaret performances. And when you're about to go on stage and you're a little bit like all over the place, a little bit of tapping can help sort of like get you back in touch and grounded and like bring you back down to earth a little bit.
Well, then, why don't we also do our nervous system a favor?
I love that.
Step back from the internet and touch grass. And I'm saying that with a lot of feeling because I definitely have not been able to do it. I have no touch grass
Rough
this
week.
week. I was trapped on the internet and I couldn't get away.
You've been a busy lady.
I've just been working a lot.
Well, I've got something for the both of us, and it's a very short one, which is just going to lean down here.
Wait, what's happening?
My garden produced
more foods.
First of the season, Sun Gold cherry tomatoes.
I'll take
so I
it.
brought one for you.
I'll take it. I love it.
enjoy.
Can I eat this now?
Uh-huh.
I actually love cherry tomatoes.
Organic.
Oh my God.
First of the season.
It's really good.
By the way, we want to hear from you. So if you've got a scroll and tell for us, take a selfie video just like Henry did. Send it to engagementparty@cnn.com. I'm sorry for talking with my mouth full.
Yeah.
We might use it in a future episode.
What?
Are we tapping?
Yeah. No.
Oh, also, we don't have any reviews. Please give us some reviews.
I know. Why are y'all
We
not
keep hearing
reviewing
from
us?
people that you love the show. Tell the world, please. We would really love it if you, all the things like
Yeah.
follow, comment, subscribe, review.
Also, my brother
etc.
says he won't listen to anything I do if it has less than 4 stars. So help me
Harsh.
get my own. Listen, I come from a family of immigrants, okay? We are hardworking folks. So help me get my own brother's attention.
Have a good 4th of July. We'll see you next week.
Bye.